Good morning. My name is Sally Matson and this is my colleague Jill Budgie. And your names are?
Dirk.
And Annick.
Could I have your mark sheets, please? Thank you. First of all, we'd like to know something about you. Where are you from, Dirk?
I'm from Holland. I'm from Haarlem. It's near to the west coast of Holland.
And you, Annie?
And I'm from Zurich, Switzerland.
Are you working or studying at the moment?
I'm studying at the moment. But now I'm right now taking a gap year, so obviously I'm not studying English. But.
And you?
I'm having a gap year. I finished my high school this summer and I'm going to university next summer.
Can you tell us something about your plans for the future in terms of work?
I want to become a doctor. I want to improve the health of human beings.
And Annick, what do you think you'll be doing this time next year?
Well, I'll be doing my bank internship, which takes 18 months. So next year, obviously, I'm going to be there and taking my exams probably pretty much.
Thank you. Now, in this part of the test, you're going to do something together. Here are some pictures of different situations. First, I'd like you to look at pictures A and D and talk together about the sounds you might hear in these situations. You have about a minute for this, so don't worry if I interrupt you.
Okay, on picture A you can see, I think, some kind of jungle with chimpanzees.
Yes.
So I guess there are a lot of natural sounds, like leaves moving and maybe some water, maybe there's a river nearby.
And maybe the roaring of the chimpanzees as well.
Yeah, or gorillas, I don't know, some kind of
the
apes.
wind, yeah.
And yeah, maybe also some birds, because there are going to be a lot of birds.
Definitely, yeah.
And what other animals could there be? Well, just different kind of insects maybe as well.
Yeah, but I don't think you hear them a lot. And
Yeah,
about D,
depends.
I think the splashing of the water, definitely, of the sea. And maybe the sound of the rolling plastic objects.
Yeah, but I don't think you hear any people because it doesn't look so nice there. So I think it's going to be pretty much silent there.
Thank you. Now look at all the pictures. I'd like you to imagine that an environmental organisation is planning a poster campaign to raise public awareness of environmental issues. Talk together about the environmental issues suggested by these images. Then decide on an image for the poster which would be most effective in raising public awareness. You have about 3 minutes to talk about this.
I think the environmental issue in the first photograph is about the extinction of
Animals.
animals.
Lots of species.
Yes.
Yeah, but you cannot really see that they're not doing well. It looks like a typical calendar picture, or it doesn't look too bad. So I don't think this is a suitable picture.
They're having the good life in there.
Yeah,
it seems like.
They look happy with the baby on the back. And
yes. What do you think about B?
B, I also don't think it's that suitable for the campaign, because I don't think it makes a big change for the awareness of the people if they see the picture, because they probably won't connect it to pollution or deforestation or anything. The only thing here is like the plastic cup, or I don't know, maybe it's a glass.
Yeah, maybe it's the pollution of water.
Reuse it. Yeah, because this is obviously like, I think, frizzy water, like filtered water from a spring. So I also don't think this is suitable.
I don't think either.
Picture
I think C, is a rather good one. You see all the. It's a third world country, a developing country, certainly.
Yeah, and you can also see in between all the forest parts. So maybe there was a lot of deforestation going on before, so they could build houses.
Yeah.
So this would be, I think, one of the better pictures for the campaign, because you can see that there's been some deforestation.
Yes, I think
these probably also then loss of species, because the animals don't have their normal habitats anymore.
Because all the trees.
Yeah,
they cut down all the trees. I think D is a good one as well.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a common picture.
Because normally beaches are supposed to be nice and families want to spend their time there or go for a stroll. And if it looks like this, I'm pretty much certain that no one wants to go there. So this would raise awareness.
It looks like such a well-known white beach with the light blue water, but it's all polluted.
To be honest, pretty much every beach looks kind of similar nowadays because everyone's just throwing away their Coca-Cola cans, and so it's quite common.
But it's very hard to make all litter bins on all beaches.
Yeah.
What do you think about E?
Well, it looks like I don't really connect it with environment because they're just old used cars that are being compressed.
Yeah, maybe they use the metal again.
Yeah. Yeah, but also I wouldn't use it for the campaign.
No, I think.
So I think we choose D.
D. Yeah, it's the best one definitely, and I think E. It's really bad because you can use metal again. You can recycle it.
Yeah. And D actually affects the people.
Yes.
So
definitely.
Thank you. Now, in this part of the test, you're each going to talk on your own for about 2 minutes. You need to listen while your partner is speaking because you'll be asked to comment afterwards. So, Dirk, I'm going to give you a card with a question written on it, and I'd like you to tell us what you think. There are also some ideas on the card for you to use if you like. All right? Here's your card. Please let Aniek see your card. Remember, Dirk, you have about 2 minutes to talk before we join in.
How important is it to make long-term plans? I think in personal life it's quite important to make long-term plans because you're able to know what you want to become when you're old, and what you want to earn for money, and what you want to do for the community, for your country. I think in talking in shorter terms, it's good to know what you want to do this year. It's long term as well, but it's short term. In work, school, it's really for yourself important to know what you want to do after school, so you have good grades in certain subjects. So that you will be able to show other people after school that you like the things that you're good in. In government, it is of course very important to make long-term plans. If we look at the whole Euro crisis, now they all didn't make such good plans to see if the credibility of the countries was right before they entered the euro. So it's really important to look to certain aspects in parts of the community in government.
Thank you. Why do some people prefer not to plan ahead?
Well, some people want to be spontaneous, and I also think that's actually a quite good idea to sometimes just say, let's pack a suitcase with, let's say, a bikini and some trousers, and then let's go to the airport and just pick one flight wherever it takes us. So I think this is also quite good. But I think when it comes to important things like planning a family, it's very important that you plan ahead to have a good job so you're financially stable. So it depends. You cannot always be spontaneous.
What do you think?
I think it's for most people just laziness not to make long-term plans. I think it's they don't want to think about it, and that's the reason they don't think about it.
Thank you. Now, Aniek, it's your turn to be given a question. Here's your card. Please let Dirk see your card. Remember, Aniek, you have about 2 minutes to tell us what you think, and there are some ideas on the card for you to use if you like. All right?
Yeah. What factors will influence how cities develop in the future? That's a very good question, because I think because of the rising population nowadays, that's very important right now to think about the future. So when it comes to population, we can definitely see that there's going to be more people in one city. So probably they have to build more houses, higher houses, build more skyscrapers. People are going to live in much smaller spaces. And also I think the living standard is going to get a bit down, because you probably won't be able to have a garden and your own house. You will just share a small flat, probably in the big cities. Also, you have to deforest forests in order to make space for buildings. So I think the cities are just going to get more packed with buildings, and the nature or the sceneries are going to suffer from that. And financially, well, they could develop in different ways. I think everything is getting more expensive every day because the resources are getting rarer. And yeah, I think also the price of water is going to raise, and energy and the fuel, obviously. And yeah, just like things like petrol. And climate, well, we're experiencing global climate changes, global warming. But I think not every city is affected so far. So probably in the jungles or like rainforests, the seasons are not really going to change because they're always at the equator. But other cities, like, not really cities, but let's say the Antarctica, I think all the ice shelves are going to melt at some point, and then just the animals are going to suffer, and also the people there.
Thank you. Is it important to preserve old buildings in cities?
I think so, because if you want to have the old scenery that we had in the early days, many people used to are usually looking back to the good life. Many old people, and I think it's really good to preserve those buildings, to have the old scenery in the cities.
What do you think?
I agree, but I also think that they're a very important part of the culture of the city. So let's look at England. If I think of England, I always think automatically of red brick buildings and very charming small houses. So if we wouldn't have them in a few years anymore, I don't think England would have any charm left. So it's all about the flair, and I think you really should preserve them.
Thank you. Now, to finish the test, we're going to talk about the future in general. Do you think newspapers and books have a future?
Yes, I think so. Some people say that the internet is going to take over everything, and that you're going to read all the articles now on iPads, on e-booklets, or what are they called?
Kindle.
Kindle, exactly. Yeah. But I think it's still nice to have an actual newspaper in your hand, a physical one that you can touch, and just also the smell of the paper. So.
Yeah, and I think the sound of flipping a page is so good, and most people don't like it to read from a screen because their eyes get tired. But I think it's much better to read from a paper. It's more quiet, more just relaxing for your eyes.
Yeah.
Given the choice, would you rather live in the past or in the future?
I think I would rather live in the past because it's a much better life. I think less worried, and there are so many issues they're complaining about, and old people. Everybody is just thinking about problems that are not real problems, in my view. And I think in the early days they didn't have the time to worry about those problems, so I think I would rather live in the past.
Yeah, I also think it's very tempting to live, let's say, in the Roman times, because they had like a lot of feasts, and it's just also the food, enjoying the food, going to not parties but all the celebrations there. I really think that it's going to be not easier to live there because you don't have all the technology, of course. But as he pointed out, I think that nowadays we worry about too many small things, and back then it was just war or not war, and starve or not starve, and the diseases they had back then. Okay, because now we have the medical advantages, so we don't have to worry about the pest or I don't know.
Yeah, but we're worrying about things that are not.
But it also would be nice to be one day in the future, where you have like everything automatically and just not to actually live there, but just to experience and see how it is.
How will you enjoy yourself if everything is done by something else?
Well, we don't know how the future is going to be like, so maybe you have like cyber jets and you can fly, and I think this would be fun.
Could be.
Could be.
Some people worry that wild animals will only exist in zoos in the future. What do you think about this?
Well, I hope not.
No.
But right now it seems like many species are going to be extinct in hundreds of years. But I think humankind should try to do their best in preserving them. And maybe keeping them in zoo as well is helping to preserve them, because they don't lose their habitat there, but still it's not real wildlife.
Yeah, but I think it's better to have certain reservates to keep the animals and to have the wildlife as well in there. It's much better for the animals, I think, than in a zoo. I think all the animals are so bored by always the same thing in the
in a
zoo.
small cage.
Yes.
What changes might there be in food and food production in the future?
Well, I'm still waiting for the invention of like a small pill where you can have like a starter, a main course and a dessert. They would change flavors. It would be very nice, no? Then you don't have to take all the time in eating it, and you have the same enjoyment. But still, it also wouldn't be the same. Like actually cutting a nice piece of steak, it's better than just taking a tablet. But
I think we will always eat vegetables, but I think there will be a change in maybe the food coming from snack bars and fast food brands.
But I also think that more food is going to be organic in the future.
Definitely.
Thank you. That is the end of the test.